everyone. Let's talk about what happened yesterday and what we can look forward to as these funds are getting closer and closer to their declaration date and then soon their pay date. And we're looking pretty good in CONY and MSTY. So let's talk about CONY. We're at 29.18 on the close, which was down 0.78, so down less than 1%. And look at our underlying tracking stock, coin. It was down 4.61%. So how do we outperform it? Well, we did pretty good. We did pretty well with the synthetic, and also mainly we did better on, let's look, on this call right here on the weeklies. So we had 14,360 remaining, okay, and let's look at active. So we pulled back yesterday in coin, which helped us on our weeklies. So we had been up around 279, and we had we have remaining 14,360 calls, and I think we got $7. Let me take a look at what we sold. Yeah, we got $7.75, and they were written at 267. So we want that strike to stay at or below 267 so we can keep all of the premium, which on 14,000 remaining, it's $11,129,000. Okay, we did have to take off the table this one. We took 415 off yesterday, and we had to pay $19. We don't want that to happen, right? So that ended up costing us almost $500,000. We got 321 when we sold them, and we bought them back for 808, so it was close to $500,000. So that's what's going on with the active. All our eggs are in one basket, right? So the current CONY price is 29.18. Like I said, less than 1% down. We don't want that strike, and you know, we have 2 remaining days, today and tomorrow. But we really don't want to see this at 290 or 300 and have to buy this thing back at 35, something like that. 30 to 35 when we only received 7. If I look at the holdings, they're showing 685 on today's close. But still, look at that. That's a 9.8 million. Well, if it closed it's going to close less than 6 if it were to close at the same price, because the close was 266, so that would go to 0 if that happened on Thursday. But they're going to keep that premium up, and if we run up to 280 or 290 on coin, it's going to be harder to buy it back. So let's hope we make money on that one. We're doing really good on the synthetics. So back to the active. I updated the chart here. Again, you know, coin runs away from CONY, and that happens in the funds a lot of the time. It's just you know, you're never going to track 100%. We have a little bit on the downside because we're selling the weekly calls. All right, let's look at our March tab and let's see what happened in cash and position. So we didn't put any trades on today, and if we come over to our cash, we moved money around. We threw some money back in the First American Government Fund. We went down a little bit in the other funds. We had a net change of 1.4 million in the cash portion of our. So we didn't take any more, we didn't put on any more positions. So we kind of held steady here. Let's take a look at holdings, because we're getting, sorry, I wanted to look at the payments tab. So our payments tab sets us up, and again, declaration date is 4/3, April 3rd. That's week after next, right? So we have a short week this week with Good Friday. We're at 88 million there. Our short call income is 6.4. So the 616 could be paid out, but they're never going to pay out 100%. They always save some in the NAV reserve. So best guess is it's mid-2s to 3. I don't see them paying more than $3 because I don't think any fund has paid $3 yet. I expect that in MSTY. I really think we should set a new precedent there with, $4 or something. But we'll go over MSTY in a minute. But my range on this is 250 to 3. We probably will beat the previous highs. We had a 269. I think I wasn't in the fund, but I think there was a 250 distribution the previous month. We dropped to $1.07, and last month, I think a lot of us were looking for $1.90, $2, and we only got a $1.66. And look at, they only had this amount of money to pay out. So if we keep this and we don't take a big hit, we could lose several $1 million. We could lose 10 million or something. But we would make up a lot of that on the synthetic. But remember, on the synthetic, it's paper. We don't close that trade out because those are April 19th. Let's take a look at our synthetic. So on our 250, this is updated pricing, right? So, sorry, this price is now, what did I say, 266.81, I think. So we're 6.72% there. These numbers are all right. So we didn't put any new positions, but if we were to close out that synthetic right now, we would bring in 25 million, right? Because our call that we bought is worth a lot more than the put we sold. So think of this as a liability, and this is something we'll sell and cash out on. So we want CONY to go to 300, 350, 400. We want the synthetics to move forward. As long as it stays above 250, this will just dwindle down to nothing, right? We keep all that premium. And basically, we've got a nice position there. But we want to win on our actives. We always want to win as much as we can. We're capped because we're past the point. We're 0.26 out of the money, right? Because we closed at 266.81, I think, and the strike is 267.50. So technically, there's not much more we can make on our weekly. That's what we mean by we're capped. We can certainly lose a lot more. Okay, let's move. So I covered payment, holdings, not a lot happened there. I kind of marked these. So just to recap, our synthetics, the calls were 32, the puts down to 14. You always want your call higher than your put value. Because we buy the call and sell the put. And here, we paid $775, right? So we could have bought it back. It would have cost us $9.8 million, but we sold it for $11.2 million. So we actually would make money from $775 to $685. But I'm not sure I would, have called him out for not doing that. If this thing in the daytime, later in the day, gets down to 260 or 255, and they can buy it back for $3, that's absolutely what I think they ought to do. Because if you look on the March tab, right, when we sold those, we sold them for $775. So you put a 3 in here, and you're going to collect 5 or 6 million of the 11 million they paid us. If this thing goes to 19, we're going to be really sorry. We're going to spend 22 million, 25 million to buy them back, right? Because you're talking about 14,360. Those are all of our weeklies. We don't have any others. Okay, I think that covers CONY, and we're in pretty good position for a payout as long as we don't lose big on the weekly. But again, we make the money in the synthetic, but we probably won't close that out till probably the week of 4/12 or right before that. Okay, let's look at my MSTY. Nope, we're already updated. Okay, let's go in and see what they did. Well, we had a few positions that happened in MSTY. And look at, you know that when you see, so the fund yesterday, people are buying MSTY. I mean, it's got to be the top performing fund. NVIDIA's been doing well, but nothing. I'm going to do a video and I call it, I Must Be Dumb. I bought MSTY for $22 and 30 days later, I doubled my money on the NAV from 22 to 44 plus. And I should get a 20% of everything I spent as a payout, right? I'm expecting $3 to $5, probably in the $4. These weeklies will help us determine what it is. They're not going to pay anywhere near 60, 70, 80%, but I'll talk about how much money there is. But we are losing on these 1800s, right? We closed at, let's take a look. That's what happened yesterday. Okay. So on MSTY, the gain was 113 on Mr., right? On MicroStrategy, the underlying. We went up 337, mainly because of our strike positions, right? We did have a few 2130s, 2 doesn't really count. These we got good premium for. So by closing at 1876, we weren't that far out of the money, right? The break even is 1846 and 1847. And this one's the bulk. You really care about 167, right? It's 167 contracts. So ideally, you want to see 1850 or below. You'd love to see it run down to 1700 and have these fund managers buy this thing back for $20 or $25 today or tomorrow, right? And then shoot up and maybe finish up. And that way we've taken our weeklies off, because what they did today, they did 3 trades. They added a 17 weekly. Okay, and I put that in yellow. They sold that for $92. But look what they did. It's a weekly, but they went out to April 5, right? Because there were 2 days left, and they put it on yesterday, right? So I don't think they wanted it. They wouldn't have gotten 92, not at 2130. It's 13% out of the money, right? Because it closed at 1876, and they're getting $92. So the other 2 trades involved 17, and they were on our synthetics, right? So you guys know now on the synthetics, what do? We buy a call and we sell a put. Okay, usually we pay a lot more premium on the call, especially if you're going back on a price that we're in the 1800s and this is 1700, the price. So sure enough, we paid $354 for the additional synthetics, and our put had 174. So we paid almost just a 2 to 1, right? If this was 300 and this was 600, it would be exactly a 2 to 1. So we put more cash in our pocket, but we got a win on that, right? So on this one, we've got 2 trading days here, counting today, and then 5 next week. So it's 7 day, a weekly. We stand right now, these are the updated prices, these all add up to 207 positions now. So we would have another 3.7 if we closed all our synthetics out. I expect that to be a lot higher as we go forward, right? But that's our position on our synthetics on 419. We've collected 1.652 for, I don't know what I did here, I drugged something else. But this is the current value for how profitable we are, the 1652400 on the weekly, synthetics. Okay, let's take a look at our cash. So this is the position here. This is the weekly. I showed you the synthetic. So they bought a call, sold a put, 17 additional contracts at the 1700 synthetic, and here they took a 2130, which I like, by the way. I would have loved to see them do a 2 day, but they probably only would have gotten $18 or something. And it's 17 contracts only. You might as well shoot for the moon and get a bigger amount of money, and it's still not that big, right? What did they get? 156,000. Okay, so there's running total 1205. So we picked up a little bit more money, right? We got a liability, but we picked up more money when we sold them. Cash position, we netted an additional, what's the change, 3.15. Our net assets less the options. We've got a lot more cash. We moved some back in the government fund, the First American. Otherwise, these are just T-bills at various expirations. Let's take a look at our holdings. So interesting, we closed at 44.80, and I kept thinking I did something wrong. This is their number they published. This is what I added up to 864. They added up to 867 that they said. But no matter what, I got a real premium that the fund is running at. I showed 44.80. Not showed, that's what the close was, 44.80. But I'm showing the value based on net assets as 43.96. But that doesn't surprise me. People are jumping in this fund anticipating a big payout. And there will be a nice payout. But this thing could pull back, right? There's nothing worse than buying into the fund at 44, getting $3 or $4, and then having it drop to 38, right? I don't know that it could run to 50. It probably will run to 50 before long. So the fund isn't going to stay down, but I don't know if people want to just jump in. It seems like that. We're up to 975. We added 75 yesterday. We were at 8.25. We went to 900. Now we're at 975. This thing will be over $1 million shortly. Okay, let's look at payments. So leave my estimate alone for the moment. So 8.6 million in synthetic income that we've extracted. The short income call where we sold some more calls is 1.2. So just if they paid us on the weeklies, we can get paid $1.24. That's not what they're going to pay us on. Remember, we haven't had a pay date yet, right? This came at the end of February, well, February 21, because I bought in February 26th in this fund. And there's $10.07 right now. Now, what we're hoping, if we lose on those weeklies, we'll make it up on the synthetic, but if we lose on the weeklies, it could take the 10.7 down, right? Because it's about $1 because you have about 1 million shares here. So, you know, that changes the dynamic. But should it continue like this, and maybe we'll even keep that 11 million that we have and have this number go up. But the annual return just based on this, that won't be the payout, it's 120%. I'm showing today's price, and annualized, that would be 269. Again, they're not going to pay that amount out. I'll give you my opinion at the end of this week, beginning of next week, but I can give you a rough estimate. I would say somewhere between 35 and 45%. So 35% would be in the threes. Remember, I don't recall any Yieldmax fund paying $3. They've been in the twos, and CONY's had a 260 and a 250. And I could see $4 here, especially if they hold pace with the weeklies, and the synthetics are going to go up. But maybe they don't want to pay that much and have people think that other funds are poor performers when they're really not. It's just the crypto's gone crazy. And frankly, you have to be prepared for the volatility. Okay, thanks everyone. This is not professional advice. I'm not a professional financial advisor. So let's see if there's anything else. Oh, I was going over old synthetics. You don't care about that. We talked about active. you know, now we spread our allocation on the contracts a little bit more. I don't think I went over these as much, but this is where we're at risk. You know, we've got a 167 and 21, and we both got around $46, $47 when we sold them, and they're 1800s, and look at the price, we're 4% over. So if we closed exactly at this price, we would be losing money, right? It would have to be 1846, 1847 to break even, because that's the money we collected. So it's nice that it's moving up, but you like these weeklies. They got smart. This is such a small amount, it's just not going to bail us out. Very little chance that it's going to run to that number. It may run to that number on 4 or 5, and you know, we'll collect close to $1 million or whatever it was. I think 7 or 8. Where is that number? 7 or 800,000. No, it's only 156,000. I was thinking because we got 92 that we got good money, but it's only 17 contracts. Okay. Thanks everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like. Hit me up with questions. I get a few comments, but happy to do some other funds. I got some other material coming in general, trying to compare some other funds. Thanks again. Talk to you all later.